Good afternoon, everyone. Yesterday, a press release from Arizona Congressman Juan Ciscomani announced that Fort Huachuca will soon be home to a new mission. What exactly is the mission, and what will it mean for the surrounding community as well as our nation's security? We will cover that and so much more as we speak with the representative of Arizona's 6th Congressional District, Congressman Juan Ciscomani, on this episode of Jeff Davenport Live, brought to you by Cool FM Live. Congressman, I know your schedule is extremely busy today and our time is limited, so I will do my best to move efficiently through our questions. But first off, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Always good to see you. Always good to be with you. One of the things when we do the parades over in Sierra Vista or anywhere in Cochise County, you're always there, and when we get to do those like live feeds and everything, so it's awesome always to be talking to you. You've been doing this for a while and carrying on that voice for this entire region. So happy to be on and just add a little bit of color to the interview today.
Without a doubt, and we have so many things to get to. So let's get to the headline. The new mission coming to Fort Huachuca appears to be connected with Space Force. First question, is that correct? And what can you share about how long it's been in development and how will it impact the economics of the greater Fort Huachuca, Sierra Vista, Cochise County area?
Sure. So as we begin talking about this, I first have to say that many of the details are going to be revealed by the Department of War as we get closer to the dates that they've specified. Because it is a national security focused mission, we have to be very careful on what we share and when we share it. And that's the guidance coming from them. I wish I could tell you everything right now. I may not even know all the details, but I definitely have been given more information than what we're able to share today. What I can say is that this is a mission that we've been working on for over a year now. It's from the Department of War, of course, working with the Air Force on this. And this is something that they started looking at different bases, different installations across the entire country, as they usually do. And then it's up to each community overall, led by the member of Congress in the area, to put the best foot forward for that community, and use all the tools, use all the partnerships, use all the whole weight of the community, put it in there to try to make a case for it. Of course, what we lead with is what Fort Huachuca brings to the table, which you're looking at a 149-year-old installation. We've got thousands of square miles of protected airspace. We have an incredible set of missions in cybersecurity and intelligence that are already born and raised and effective from Fort Huachuca. Great leadership there. And here's the other one. We have an amazing community that surrounds Fort Huachuca, where we have about 4,000 active duty military members. We've got over 18,000 veterans in that area, about 80,000 in CD6, but 18,000 coming from this region. The highest per capita veteran population in the whole state is right there in Cochise County. So all these things add into the decision making of the Department of War. And they look at even more things. You'd be surprised. They start looking at what's the infrastructure around the installation? What's daycare look like for our military members that we want to move there? What does the economic development of the region say? And one thing that I was told helps is when the member of Congress in the area is in the appropriations committee. That's always a plus for their selection process. So as soon as I learned that, I leaned on that heavily and fought for it. I was told different deadlines, and they kept saying, we're almost there, but you made the next cut and you made the next cut. And finally, we're here. It's been decided, and the details are coming. But this is going to be an exciting mission for the region, really an economic development driver as well, and a big boost for national security.
And let's talk about that specifically. So because just like the Marine Corps operates under the Department of the Navy, Space Force falls under the Department of the Air Force, was there any challenge in placing this mission at an Army installation versus Davis-Monthan in Tucson at an Air Force base?
Well, let me remind you that I haven't specifically specified on what mission it is and where it's coming from. That's going to be up to the Department of War to declare that and to really reaffirm that once they're ready for that. Right now, at this point, we're calling it a mission that we've been advocating for, and that is through the Department of War. And that's as far as they're ready to confirm at this point, given the sensitivity for the national security reasons. But I got to tell you, Fort Huachuca was an easy sell. That was the simplest part of this whole thing. which is interesting because every time I talk to the secretary about this and we brought it up, they said, have you thought about this or that? And everything I could come back with something and say, hey, listen, the Chamber of Commerce in the area is behind this as well. We have, really solid schools for military members. It's a community that knows how to welcome not only veterans, but active duty military members, a lot of love for law enforcement as well. So all these things mattered. I mean, I don't know exactly how their point system worked, but every time they called to ask new questions, or I called them just to check in and quite honestly bug on this and say, hey, we need an answer soon. And where you at on this? Anything we can provide? It often sounded like we were a preferred location, and that just strengthened it. Whatever the mission may be, the other thing they were looking at too is that does the installation itself does it have room to grow, right? Or do we need to build new barracks? Do we need to build new infrastructure inside the base as well? That quite honestly is quite expensive for the military to build that within installations. So we showed how Fort Huachuca already has enough space that we wouldn't have to do that, and could just grow into that. So all these things compounded into this decision. So it was a team effort for sure. It was kind of my duty though to package it all and keep pressing on the right buttons there with the Department of War.
And let's talk about that team effort, because thinking of politics, you think there's one side, there's the other side, they're always working against each other. Was there a bipartisan effort with people from across the aisle to ensure that this would happen?
Absolutely. There was an effort in the entire community, the entire area there in Cochise County, Sierra Vista, everyone. We've been in touch with them, and it was my job to kind of gather the information, right? I mean, coming from the left or coming from the right, we want to know they wanted to know what the crime rate is in the area. They wanted to know what kind of schools we have. They wanted to know what kind of even childcare opportunities there were in the area. And all this, I had to gather information from different people in the area, and my team did as well. And the Department of War probably did their own individual research on this. So it was really a community team effort. I mean, yes, bipartisan for sure, but just the community overall. That's who really takes the credit here. My role was to leverage my position on the Appropriations Committee, my relationship with the White House, my relationship with the Department of War as well, and knowing when to go bug and when to kind of give them space to make a decision and how to play that. So we had to read the room there a few times and decided when it was time to press, when it was time to let him make some decisions. But happy to have made the cut every step of the way, all the way to the end, and of course being selected as a preferred location.
Well, it sounds like an incredible effort, and we're grateful to get the update on that. And we definitely look forward to keeping in touch with you as more information is released to the public about what this will entail, how many people will be coming to our area. Again, bodies equal the economic drivers and everything like that. It all works together.
Absolutely. I've been definitely interested in that information as well, asking those questions. Some details are going to be coming sooner than others, but it's going to be an exciting project mission. That, again, it will be huge for our community, but it really will have just national security implications, which is one of the things that I've always known, we've always known, knowing this community well. But coming here to Washington, how people here in Washington see Fort Huachuca, how people here in Washington and the Pentagon see the value that it brings. And when I meet so many generals and they're letting me know, oh, yeah, I was stationed there at one point in my career. And the role that it plays with our overall cybersecurity and intelligence efforts, it's amazing. We have a true gem right here in Fort Huachuca. And now with this mission, it's only going to grow and become even more relevant to our national security.
Staying on local topics, a month ago, Chiricahua National Monument is no longer Chiricahua National Monument. It is now Chiricahua National Park. And you and your team were responsible for helping make that happen. Talk about what goes into something like that.
Sure. Well, we're a little over halfway there. I wish it was a dumb process. We have to have the Senate approve it as well. Both Arizona senators have confirmed their support of this, which should be a plus there. But I don't see any kind of pushback that possible on this. It's going to be a matter of timing, and however the the floor process and the voting process works in the Senate, which they have a whole different set of rules. But let me tell you what we did in the House on this. This is the Chiricahua National Monument today, as it's known. It's been an amazing attraction and something beautiful that we have in southern Arizona and southeastern Arizona and Cochise County. Something that the whole world needs to know about. And another gem that we have, and a very local issue, this is one of the first bills that I introduced. It might have been my first bill that I introduced coming in here, even last Congress. It worked its way through. But here's the thing. You need to have sign off from again, it needs coalition building. These bills don't just pass because you're in the majority and they just get them passed. I mean, we have to have tribal input on this. We have to make sure that the business community is aware. And again, they give us the right tools for it. You got to make a case for it and get it through a committee that is a natural resources committee, a committee that I'm not on. However, I have good relationships there that, again, you leverage that and you say, hey, I would get waived on in the committee. I want to present this bill. They allowed me to do that. I was able to make the case. I have to give credit to Congressman Paul Gosar from Northern Arizona as well. He's on that committee and a respected member of the Natural Resources Committee. So having his support and sign off on that obviously helped, and the rest of the Arizona delegation. So all these things kind of added up into getting it passed from committee, and then it came to the floor and it was passed on bipartisan basis to be able to rename this. Now, this is a big deal because this is the second national park that we're going to have in southern Arizona. Of course, Saguaro National Park being one, and this will be the second one, the fourth one for Arizona, but the second one for southern Arizona. And this should attract tourism. This is going to be another economic driver. So this is kind of like an economic package, I would say, for southeastern Arizona. When you look at the mission that is coming in, and then you look at this tourism attraction. Once national monuments become national parks, several things happen. First of all, it protects the public land footprint of that park. So it protects it. It's going to be set. It also prevents it from growing. I know that over 80% now of Arizona is governed by public lands. So we want to make sure that whatever's the public land now, we're going to respect it, and it both protects it from expanding too much, but also from ever shrinking or something being built on there that we don't want. So both sides had to come to the table and say, okay, this both protects it in every way possible. Tribal communities are okay with this. It signed off on every other area. So it was a window that I saw. We went through it, pushed through, and we were able to get this again. So this is the kind of work that maybe voters at home, people at home, constituents at home don't always see. But this is the work that we're doing up here. And that doesn't always sell on Twitter the same way that maybe other news sell up here, or even scandals. But this is the work that I was elected to do, and that's why we're happy to be delivering in that.
It's amazing, and we're grateful for what you do here in Southern Arizona. I know we only have a few minutes left before you have to get going to your next meeting, so we'll just kind of run through a couple of these. You let me know when we need to cut off. Recently, there was a controversial meme that featured President Trump circulating on social media. As someone who's expressed support for the president and someone who is a man of faith, what were your thoughts and reactions to that image?
Well, I briefly looked at that image when it first came out. I mean, it's not one that I would have ever done on from my account for myself, and that's I'll leave it at that. I mean, this is we have to stick to our jobs. I like to stick to mine. There are a lot of thoughts out there and questions, and what do I think about this? What do I think about that? I can't control what comes out of the social media account from the president or the White House itself. I can only control mine. That's why I'm elected as a member of Congress, to focus on the things that we just talked about. So that's what I'll be focusing on, and you can trust that you won't see any meme like that coming out of my account.
Good to know. We've also seen members of Congress from both parties actually get called out for and force resignations after inappropriate conduct, including, we had mentioned that Senator Gallego being very close to the Swalwell campaign and his involvement in that. But I want to focus on you. I want to know, as someone in a position of leadership, what personal or professional safeguards do you put in place to maintain the accountability and integrity in being a married man and a father?
That's a really good question, and also the steps that I take are pretty simple and straightforward. It's the same behavior that I have at home. I have it here. I like to avoid night events. I like to, as you know, I sleep in my office. This is you see here. This is my home as well. So I get back here as soon as I can in the evening, and I do things that would give Laura peace of mind and that will make my kids be proud. That's kind of like what I focus on. And obviously, people come here with different reasons, different drivers, and being here, brings certain things out of people. And we're seeing a lot of that, unfortunately, and that's being exposed. And that is not terrible for these things to be exposed because people need to know. And I think it's a wake up call for many people that are trying to toy around with that kind of stuff. And listen, you got to understand that this job for everyone is it's a stage in our lives and our careers. It's not worth losing your family over. It's not worth losing yourself over, your morals, your character. I've always said that after we retire from this job, when we decide to, and when the voters decide that when that conversation happens with my wife and everyone and the family, and we decide to retire from this job, then at that point we want to make sure that we're home with our head up high and we didn't lose ourselves in this job. And I think the voters will appreciate that. And when you look at my district, and I grew up in this area, I have my same phone number from college. So a lot of friends still that text and get back to us. I'm just that person, Juan. I was at my son's baseball game this last week, and they hit a foul ball, and it's a middle school game, so I was sitting behind home plate in the bleachers there. I was on my phone, I have to admit, when this other kid was batting, not my son, but he hits a foul ball and I ended up catching the ball. Okay, so then I got cheered. People was like, he didn't even drop his beer. I was like, no, it was a phone that I had in my hand. So it's just being there, and people came up and said hi, and listen, people told me things that they were happy with, people that there were some concerns that they had. That's what I want to do. I just want, and some people come up and they're like, hey, I'm really nervous. I've never talked to a member of Congress. And I say, I'm just Juan, your neighbor. That's who you're talking to right now. And I was there with part of the family. And, that's what I'd like to do. Be the same person there and be the same person here in Washington. That way, you don't have to worry about keeping your story straight. Just be honest.
And that is great life advice. I've been given the high sign that it's about time to wrap up. One more quick question before we go. This is a question I asked you actually the last time you were in Sierra Vista, that our Sierra Vista mayor, Clea McCaw, announced with me right here in this studio that he would not be seeking re-election as mayor because he was going to be starting an exploratory campaign for 2028 for Congressional District 6. Now, obviously, you represent Congressional District 6. You're up for election this year in 2026. And should you win, you'll fill out your term through 2028. Can we infer from Mayor McCaw's message that there will be greater things in store for Juan Ciscomani? And if that is the case, will you announce it with me first, live right here on Cool FM Live?
Well, I know what Mayor McCaw knows that I don't know about 2028. I'll tell you this right now, and this is always going to be a very competitive district, a very competitive election. We have 1/3 Republican, 1/3 Democrat, 1/3 Independent. So good ideas win. You have to show results. It's not just about the campaign trail. It's actually about the job itself and what do you do. And that's what I'm focusing on. It's a combination between campaigning, but you have to do the job. It's not just about the fundraising and the campaign part of it. This is really about doing the job. This district demands that. Not every district does. I see people here, and my gosh, they can go weeks without visiting their home district. They stay here over the weekend. They go on all these trips every single month. They have a different lifestyle, a different district. They demand different things of it. Some districts want their member to be fighting on social media, and that's what they reward. Not ours. Ours wants results. So we have community project funding opportunities coming back, a lot of money for all my different counties for road projects, fire, police, all the things that actually matter, the things that we talked about today. That's the exciting part of the job. Just neighbors selecting you to go up to Washington, fight for them to bring these resources back, and also support border security, support our veterans, all these kind of things. So it's the job combined with the campaign. So that takes a lot of focus. And this job, 2-year terms, requires you to really live on that 2-year cycle. Anybody that is thinking 2, 4, beyond 2 years, 4, 6 years ahead is really getting ahead of themselves, because this job, the voters have a say every 2 years, and the voters will have a say in November of this year. I'm confident that they're going to see the work that we've done and reward us with another term. And then we'll take it at that time, what's next. But at this point, we're really focusing on 26.
Well, we're glad that you took time to focus with us today. Congressman Juan Ciscomani, we can't thank you enough for your time, and we wish you the best of luck as you finish out. I think you said you're flying home tomorrow or heading back this way tomorrow, so we wish you safe travels as you fly home, but have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk
Jeff.
to me.
And I
look forward to when you make that announcement, announcing it with me first, whenever that is. We love you. Thank you so much, Congressman.
You too, brother. Love you too, man. See you.
Have a great day. Thank you so much. For more information about Congressman Ciscomani or his office, you can Google that, or you can find it in the post description. We'll make sure all that information is there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for sharing. And thank you again to Congressman Juan Ciscomani for taking time to talk to us today here on this episode of Jeff Davenport Live, brought to you by Cool FM Live. Have a great day, everybody. We'll check in with you again later on.